Hi, and welcome to my podcast. Today we're going to be talking about the symbiotic relationship. No, not that one, but the symbiotic relationship between sports and media. We're going to look at how it worked in the past together and how it's ever evolving throughout time and how it works in the present day with the things like social media, streaming services, and apps. To show this ever evolving relationship, I thought it would be fun to look at the symbiotic nature between the NBA and media. The NBA was first broadcast during its 1953 to 54 season, and that's when they signed a contract with DeMont TV Network for $39,000. Now, this didn't mean that viewers came flooding in and that the NBA became the spectacle that it is today, but it was a start. The league had to navigate through many networks where it was bought, sold, and bought again, and even then sold again for a number of years. Now, we can't find the exact number of viewers for the pre-90s broadcasts, but we do have a graph for its confirmed sales values in each decade. And if you didn't know, more viewers equals more moolah. So it gives us a basic idea of how popular it was in the media and how it evolved through time. Now, in the 70s and 80s, you can see that there's a massive spike in how much the NBA sold for to broadcasting networks. Now, this was for one reason. The WTCG in 1973 signed a deal with the NBA that it could broadcast Atlanta Hawks games for 10 years. Now, if we jump to 1984, Ted Turner was able to grow WTCG into a superstation, rebranding into WTBS. Now, this meant it had a nationwide reach, able to televise NBA games to the entirety of the United States. It even bought the rights to USA Network and ESPN. This meant it had a broad reach and more people were able to tune in and watch games, meaning the NBA could get even more popular. Now, to bring it back to the main point of this video, which is the symbiotic nature between media and sports, the WTBS initially fed off the NBA by broadcasting the Atlanta Hawks games. It meant it could get popular through fans, people who wanted to watch basketball would subscribe to them, they would go onto their network and watch it. Now, this also meant that the NBA could become more popular. Because WTBS initially fed off the NBA and then became a superstation, it meant the NBA was now on a national level. It was being broadcasted across the entirety of America, meaning that its popularity grew as well. This meant they both fed off each other, working together, and both grew together as well, which is a symbiotic relationship. Now it's time to travel into the present day and even the future. So we've talked about how sports initially worked alongside traditional media, as there was only traditional media to work with back then. But how does it evolve with ever-evolving social media and streaming platforms to secure its position in popularity? Online media is the newest craze when it comes to sports, with some calling it the traditional media killer. In Sports Online, the newest player in media sports by Michael Reel, in the Handbook of Sports and Media page 188, he wrote that an expert said that the web would bring about the demise of TV as we know it, and that homes will watch about 13% less television, about an hour less per day. To relate this to the NBA, if we look at this graph on the average NBA final viewership, you can see that there's a major decline in TV viewership from nearly 30 million in 1998 to about 50 million in 2019. And if we compare this to the amount of followers that the Golden State Warriors and Toronto Raptors who were playing in that finals that year, you can see that the following of 31.8 million with the Golden State Warriors and the Raptors 7.78 million. Again, if we look at the average TV viewers over the years, there's a small but steady decline in views each year. So that massive disparity you see between NBA TV viewership and the amount of social media followers they have is because the symbiotic relationship between sports and media is evolving. It's evolving towards social media and live streaming rather than traditional media. We can see this with YouTube TV streaming and the upcoming Prime Video and NBA deal. We're going to continue to see streaming and sports grow and move further and further away from TV broadcasting. But to reiterate, that doesn't mean the symbiotic relationship has ended. It has just evolved for both ends, with the NBA growing through an increased social presence as well as the media, and how companies broadcast games too. Now, that's all I really have time for, but it's a really interesting subject. I'm going to leave my readings in the description below, and I really hope you'll go check out for yourselves, as this is going to be a continuing trend and something that's going to take a major impact on live sports that we watch.